Welcome to an episode of You Haven't Read What? I'm Krista.
And I'm Christina. Join us to explore unique genres, childhood favorites, and literary classics as we dive into each other's favorite reads.
Where one of us is very familiar with the book, the other is reading for the very first time. Let's go! All right, well, welcome everyone to another week. I feel like I got to start off that if this doesn't describe us in a nutshell right now, we have no video tonight, so this is part of the reason why. But I am wearing Baby Yoda and Harry Potter PJs.
Yep.
And Christina is wearing a Jack Daniels t-shirt. Yep. It's great.
I definitely wish I had some Jack Daniels, but yeah.
We'd probably fall asleep doing this.
Probably. It's been a week, dude.
Oh, it's been a week. We just sat here and talked for the last half an hour about how our weeks have been.
Yeah, it's
nutso.
It is. It's been crazy, both family and just personally. And I'm just tired. And I feel like my nose, it's it's sinuses and it's just like the season changing and everything.
I tortured our poor toddler on Tuesday? Oh man, I didn't know what day of the week it was anymore. But poor guy woke up. He was coughed all night. He didn't sleep well. He was up coughing all night. I was like, oh no. Woke him up the next morning. Thankfully, he had to go to school a little bit later just because of our morning routine that day was off. And so I like gave him medicine. I checked his temperature. I almost COVID tested him because I was like, I don't want to send you to school and take out an entire preschool class. But then I was like looking at him and he cleared up really fast once he'd been upright.
Yep.
And he ate breakfast and it was good. I was like, oh, you have allergies. Oh yeah. Look,
it's literally
the leaves are yellow and red.
Yeah, it's that time of the season where like it's so hot too. It was almost 90 degrees today. And then it's getting so cold at night. It's like 40 degrees outside.
I'm gonna regret having not brought a jacket walking back to my car in an hour.
Yep. It's that heat. It's hot and cold and it's just crazy. And
everyone's noses are going, wah!
Yep, for sure. I know I definitely can feel it, see it, or hear it in my own voice right now. I just feel like it's like, yep.
Now on the flip side, the leaves are beautiful.
Yes, they are.
And I keep seeing all these pictures of like snow on the high mountains and I'm so ready for ski season. Let's go.
I hear some of the mountains are actually going to start in like early November and October. I was pretty shocked.
There's a couple that are saying if the weather patterns hold as predicted, they will open before Halloween, which is nuts.
Wow. That is nuts because for Colorado, typically if it snows on a Halloween, I mean, it's going to be a very long winter at that point because
I'm here for it.
Yep. I mean, yes, I definitely anyway. Hot chocolate, baby. I'm all for it. Let's do it. All the tea and everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely a pumpkin spicer, so I've definitely been drinking my pumpkin spice and my flat whites.
Nice. I'm apple cider. I like apple cider.
Okay.
It's kind of my go-to.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay. Nice.
So diving into our chapters tonight, quick recap from last week.
So we did 5 and 4 last week.
Yep.
And we found out that Harry went to Diagon Alley. Hey, look at me go.
Diagon Alley, yeah.
And he got money from his inheritance. And he doesn't have to live with the Dursleys much longer. Woot, woot. So excited. And then, he's going to go to Hogwarts.
I'm a real boy. So this week we did chapters 6 and 7, which starts off with my favorite sentence, "Goodbye, Dursleys," is my summary of chapter 6. And then he meets a funny little family of redheads that help him get onto platforms 9 and 3/4, if I can say it. And literally meets everyone. On my side column of my notebook, I've been keeping a list of people we meet every chapter just to keep track of. Literally too many names. I was like, no, I'm not writing all these. I might go back and write them down.
There are a lot of names in these 2 chapters. I noticed because we meet some that we've met in previous. So Professor, I'm going to butcher her name, the cat. McGonagall. We meet her from chapter 1, and then the other one from the Cauldron.
The robe shop?
No,
nope.
Well, that's the boy. Yeah. We meet him and the professor.
Professor Quirrell.
Yep. So we meet him again, and there's just so many that we meet. And then we also meet some new ones that are scary.
So many people on the train.
Mean, pretty cool, and some quirky and very interesting, and might I even add some really weird ones.
We'll work through it. It's fine.
Yep.
And then chapter 7, we meet all the ghosts, which is kind of fun. It's almost Halloween. Yay, ghosts. They get sorted. They eat a ton of food and go to bed, which sounds like the perfect day to me.
Oh, for sure. Sounds almost like a Thanksgiving feast in a way. It does. Like eat all of the turkey and fall asleep style.
But it's British, so I don't think they do Thanksgiving.
Well, they don't do Thanksgiving. I mean, yes, but...
For some reason still do.
Yes, but at the same time, like, I mean by, like, the whole turkey is supposed to make you, like, fall asleep kind of a thing. So maybe there's something in some of their some of the food that he was talking about didn't really seem British to me, but
it's all over the place.
Yeah, kind of crazy foods and stuff.
But one thing that is British, I forgot when we were recapping the last 2 chapters, I did go back. I sent you a picture of this because I was so excited.
Yes.
I found my Philosopher's Stone book
that
I got from Platforms 9 3/4 in London when I was there. Thank you very much. I was like, I need this. I already have multiple copies of this book, but I need this one. It does say football. It compares Quidditch to football, and I was super excited.
Yes. I mean, in all reality, it makes sense for it to like compare it to football because
makes a lot of sense.
Britain, like soccer is football there.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Right.
So it makes sense.
Again, diehard soccer fan.
Yep.
If you're in the States, go Sounders.
And I'm an actual football fan.
If you're in England, go Spurs. Yes, and you like I like American
real football. But in what I was telling you the other day when you were telling me about that, like I consider football in Britain to be more like rugby. Like football and rugby are very similar to me. And football and soccer are basically, that in that term or whatever. So I just find that interesting that I clapped.
Oh, I can hear him breathing into the mic, so I'm trying to move it. Sorry guys. So I stopped doing that. Oh. You'd think I'd know better by now. Like, I can hear it coming through. I'm like, oh boy. Sorry guys.
We're still learning. It's all good.
We're doing this. It's also late. We're both tired.
True that.
The kids are in bed. Life is good. All right.
So real quick though, you did mention to me the whole platform 9 3/4 and having stood on that platform being a controversial type of thing that you wanted to bring up because I
was there.
Yeah, you were there once.
So I will, again, share this picture eventually for those of you who haven't been there. I'm trying to find why has Facebook changed so many things? There we go. So oh my gosh, that was 2015. Oh, look how young I am.
That was a long time ago.
So we did my husband and I did a fun trip over to England. We started up in Manchester because he's a Manchester fan, and then spent a lot of time in London and had a lot of fun. And I'm trying to find the picture right now. We went to a Spurs game. Go Spurs. I think they tied that day. Oh no. And so of course we had to go to King's Cross and, stop by, and there's like a trolley sticking out of the wall you can stand behind and take a picture of. So it looks like you're disappearing with the trolley. And as I was looking around, I was like, wait a minute. There's platform 9 and there's platform 10 and they don't connect. There's no platform between them. And so I was like, wait a minute. There can't be a 9 3/4 because it's like platform. See if I can do this in my head. Platform, train 8, platform, train 9, train 10, platform, train 11.
Right. And the way that in the book it kind of describes it is like you're almost walking into a wall in a way. Like it's a barrier.
Yes.
So it's not that you're walking onto another platform or anything. You're almost kind of running into
them.
Right, into kind of a wall or something. Or like a gate or like a fence or something.
As we'll get to eventually, is also reflected in the movie. Basically, instead of it's train 8, train 9, platform, train 10, train 11.
Okay.
And so there's actual walkway between 9 and 10 in both the literature and the movie. And when I got there, I was like, that's not possible. So I'm wondering, I'm hoping maybe we have somebody who's been in London more than I have can say, oh, it was renovated or it's a different 9 and 10 in a different part of the station. But as I was looking at it, I was like, that's not possible here. That's a bummer. Yeah,
maybe we've got to do a little research, see if it's been renovated at all. Because the book is written in 2000 and...
Oh, no. Go back.
Even further.
90s?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm feeling old.
Was written in...
I probably should have looked that up.
Oh, come on. I'm holding the book open in front of me. Why does it not say what... Oh, I skipped a page. Oof. 1997.
Okay, 97. Okay, I was going to say 2001, so it was going to be semi-close. 4 years.
Again, we're old.
I know, right? So in 97, so maybe it's been renovated between 97 and well, you've got to think that it was published in 97, so it was probably written in 95, 96. That's about 20 years difference.
All right, here's not a great picture, but here's the best picture I took. That you see 9 and 10, and there's just 2 trains.
Okay.
The platforms are on either side of 9 or 10, not between 9 and 10.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, again, we'll post these pictures.
Yeah.
They're from 2015. I didn't realize how old I was.
So something to see what... That is funny.
Just showed her the cart sticking out of the wall with Hedwig on it.
That's funny.
So, because now I can show you these things. You understand.
Right. So I guess we're going to have to see what we can find, do a little research on that, and see if we can...
Don't tempt me with a good time.
You do like your research.
I do.
So we'll have to see what we can find on those platforms and kind of go from there when it comes to that. But...
So we leave the Dursleys. Yep. Sorry, Dudley gets his tail off.
I was wondering if he was going to get it taken off, but I mean, whatever.
Fair, rightfully so.
I mean, he can't go to his prestigious school with a tail.
Smeltings or whatever it is. Yeah.
Right?
It's judgmental school for normal people.
Though I am pretty surprised by their reaction to him for being there for an entire month after him like basically standing up for himself and ignoring them when he left the island, and then coming back and like them all kind of ignoring him but not totally, and then being like, oh yeah, we're already going, so we'll just take you with us. Like I kind of expected them to kind of not.
Because they were already going into the city, and I was also looking at the time frame because they left what they say, the train left at 11?
At 11, yep.
And they left the house at like 9, 8 or 9. And I was like, whew, that's a long drive.
Yeah. So they have to live outside the city quite a bit.
Yeah. Which makes sense because, like I said, we looked up where hypothetically Privet Drive would have been, and it is southwest of London. So it's like, okay, maybe you live on the outskirts, or maybe London traffic just sucks. I don't know. Like every other major city.
Yeah.
I lived in Washington, D.C. Nothing will ever top that.
True. Traffic there is way, way bad.
It's a special kind of awful.
It's so bad.
So we meet who we eventually figure out are the Weasleys.
Yep.
A big family. So many kids. So many kids.
I mean, Ron is the youngest boy of 6 boys. And then there's Ginny. So
little Ginny.
And we don't know if there's any other siblings after that.
I'll tell you there's not.
Oh, okay.
That's all of them. And I did love the image in my head of Ginny chasing the train as it's pulling out of the station because she wants to go.
Yep.
And I picture the day I took my youngest to daycare a little late, him standing, he's so excited when he sees Big Sissy's bus coming, and he wants to get on the bus so badly, and he just stands there and just like does a little like wiggle. It's like watching the bus pull up, and he's so excited. And I'm like, oh, that's the same thing. Like, you can't wait to get on the bus and be with the big kids.
Yep.
Oh, you got a couple years, buddy.
Yeah. And the mom kind of just being so mom, like the nose and making sure that, Ginny doesn't get on the train and just making sure that all of her boys are just taken care of.
Not blowing up toilet seats.
Wouldn't it be funny if Ginny ends up getting a toilet seat, though? Come on.
That'd be amazing.
I think it would be hilarious if one of them sends an owl with a toilet seat back for her.
You want to see that flying through the air? Owl trying to carry a toilet seat.
I think it would be awesome. I totally hope it happens. It probably won't, but I think it would be amazing. I think it would be the perfect, funny practical joke for sure.
Especially twins. I love that twins are the pranksters. It's just yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, for sure.
Like real life.
Yep.
But man, twins get in trouble.
Oh, for sure. It's and great. Just the fact that they're such a warm family that Harry is able to experience a little bit of that. Even though he's on the train, he is still listening, he's still watching. But he gets to experience that. And then Mama Weasley is like, hey, don't be going and
bothering
Harry. He is not a sideshow.
She starts mommying him right away. I'm like, oh, I got you. I know what happened to your parents. I don't know where you've been living for the last 10 years, but I know what happened. So you don't I will be your surrogate mom. Without question.
I definitely love that.
I love it.
It makes me just feel like he found something without realizing that he's found that thing yet.
Stumbled into something he didn't know he was missing.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, no. She's
and
so cute.
I think at the end of chapter 7, I actually wrote that. I think he's found his people. Mm-hmm. And you just get that feeling. But before we get to that part, I like how we get to be introduced to all of the different animals, all of the different little sidekicks and stuff. We get introduced to Hedwig, the Harry's owl, and Scabbers.
The rat Scabbers.
Yep.
What a name for a rat.
And then there's Neville's toad that keeps disappearing.
The nameless toad, yeah.
Yep.
No, Trevor. Trevor the toad.
Yep, Trevor. Yep. And so I think the animals are just really funny.
And I love how it's, again, this is one of those places I look at the author and go, that was brilliant to have, just Harry and Ron in their little compartment talking, that using Ron to introduce not just Harry, but all of us to what's I'm putting this in serious air quotes now, but normal for a wizarding family in the wizarding world. The pictures moving, the frogs jumping away from you. Merlin being on a card that moves, like all of this stuff, like he's in Quidditch. And like, it's such a brilliant way of doing this. Like, okay, readers know nothing about this. Oh, Harry doesn't know anything about this. So let's sit and have a conversation with somebody who knows everything about the wizarding world. I mean, to a point.
Right.
He still thinks he needs to find a troll to get sorted into his house, but you know.
Well,
like,
I mean, that's definitely having older siblings for you.
I was the older sibling. I never did that. Jason, if you're listening. But like, yeah, it's such, I don't know, it's just such brilliant writing of like, you get so much information and you don't notice it.
Yep.
Because it seems so normal. It seems like you're sitting and having a conversation with Harry and Ron.
It almost did feel like that. Like you were a part of that conversation. You were a part of just like the door kept opening and you just kept meeting and talking to random people. Like you were just like, sitting there, now? Like having that conversation.
Yeah. We get to meet Draco and his henchmen.
Just a Dudley 2.0.
Wannabe. Yeah. Yep. Just a big bully.
Like, yep, for sure.
It's like, cool. You think you're better.
I just, yes.
So, yeah. So, on top of the not so fun Draco, we do get to meet Hermione and Neville a little bit.
Yep.
And Hermione's fun. You see her personality right away. That
she's very, like, like, it's a very strong personality.
Yeah. I'm also picturing this an 11-year-old and a tween.
Like, oh, yes.
You think you know everything because you learned it all from books.
Right.
Which can get you so far.
Yep.
And you come from a Muggle family.
Yep.
So you had to do some catch up.
Right.
Which you're an overachiever at.
Which brings me back to all of my Muggle questions. How did she learn about this? Like, how did she figure out all of the things she needed to do in order to be a part of the Hogwarts? Mm-hmm. And like, obviously her letter just comes in the mail like everybody else or whatever. But like,
I figured there's always got to be a second letter that comes with it. Says, oh, by the way,
like this explains everything.
Muggle orientation day at the Leaky Cauldron is
right. Like
August 15th. Be outside at 8 a.m. sharp.
Well, and she talks about how her family's super excited about it, but like, how and why are they actually like in?
Well, because in theory they don't know anything until the letter arrives.
Right.
So this is. I don't know, I'm trying to come up with something to compare it to, but this isn't a great comparison because at least you're aware of it beforehand. But I'm picturing like a first generation college student.
Right.
Who never thought they were going to get in, maybe didn't even apply anywhere.
Right.
But some states do that automatic acceptance if you've got over a certain GPA. And all of a sudden getting this letter in the mail that says, you've been accepted. And you're like, what? Mm. And like not even picturing that was a world of your future. Like your parents would be pretty excited.
Yeah.
One would hope. Good parents would be pretty excited about that. So like that's the best example I can come up with. But at least everyone's heard of college, even if you're like,
right,
that's not for me. Like, yeah.
It's just it blows my mind. It just makes me want to know like more of her story. Like I get Harry Potter is the whole story, but I want to know I want to know her story now. Like I want to know how did it happen for her? Mm-hmm. Like I really want to know. But obviously we may or may not figure that out.
We'll put a pin in that. And yeah, not only with like the book smarts right away, but also her constantly helping Neville find the stupid toad is like she's such a people pleaser and such a like, oh, you have a problem? Let me help you with that.
Right.
And
let me fix it.
Running around and
Yep.
Like, and so it's clearly like
she's very
I'm gonna try to
bossy.
meet as funny people. Yeah. We try not to call our girls bossy. We call them I don't know. She's bossy.
I was like,
she's a leader. Like, well, you know what? Sometimes kids are just bossy.
Yes. Yep.
Boys can be too.
I definitely have one of those. Water is definitely a very bossy child. But I mean, it kind of, she just comes off as a very strong personality and very, and by strong, I don't necessarily mean in strength. I just mean like very overwhelming personality, very talkative, very just kind of outgoing, but yet she just kind of wants everybody to know her and she does not stop talking.
Which has me wonder if this is like overcompensating.
Oh, yeah. Because she is a muggle.
Because she's a muggle. She doesn't know anything.
A magic world.
So she reads many books and now she's having to show, like, I think she feels like she has to prove herself.
Yep.
And is way overdoing it.
Yep.
But, yeah.
It's very possible that's
whereas
exactly
Harry wants to hide.
Right.
Because everybody knows him and he doesn't know why or truly understand why. And he's like, great, I got all the attention that I don't want.
Right
off the bat, where she has zero attention. She's like, I need to figure out how to fit into this world right away.
Right.
Whoa, take a step.
And Harry he wants to fit in, I think. He wants to belong because he's never really belonged somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same time, he wants to not have this like thing holding, like being over top of him at the same time.
It's also scary going into some place where everyone knows you or thinks they know you and thinks they know your story. And then trying to sort who your true friends are would be terrifying.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Like, well, no thanks.
Right. Which so kind of brings me back to Ron, like just sitting there and having that conversation with him and like his brothers knowing who he is, but like being like, who cares?
Deuces.
Like, we're out. We're going to go see some person.
With the tarantula?
With the tarantula. I'm like, okay,
Speaking
cool,
of pets.
whatever. Right. Is that like a magic pet? Kind of like the owls and the toad and the rat?
A tarantula?
Yeah. Is that one of the...
It's not common. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah. It's Lee Jordan, I think, that has the tarantula. That's, his pet.
Weird.
Quote unquote. Okay. Hey, I met a little kid in Mississippi once that had to show off. He had a dog named D-O-G.
Okay.
That was spelled D-E-O-G-E-E. So it was D-O-G.
Okay.
I thought that was brilliant. And he had a pet tarantula. And he had to show everybody. I was like, that's nice. Keep it in the cage, buddy.
Right.
I really don't care.
No, thank you.
Okay, I can't remember his name. He was like 6. He was so excited to show off his tarantula to all of us. I was like, oh boy. Oh, I'm good.
I'm good.
I came across some hiking in Arizona and I just steered clear and kept going. But
yep, for sure.
Yeah, if somebody had one on a train, I'd be like, this compartment door can stay closed.
Right, for sure. So question for you. How do hand-me-down things work? Because so Ron has everything hand-me-down.
Yes.
So
obviously the robes are fine.
Right, obviously.
Whatever.
I mean, they're a little sharp or whatever. But he has a wand that's hand-me-down and he has scabbers.
Don't pick at it.
Right, scabbers. There we go. And a lot of his things are not necessarily made for him, whereas so Harry's wand is for him. It was picked for him, and that owl is picked for him. So how does that kind of work? Does it?
So I kind of assume the animals are like animals here, like pets.
Okay.
Like pets are pets.
Okay.
You get, I don't know if anyone's ever handed, quote unquote, hand me down a pet.
Right.
But I guess my brother did hand me down a turtle to a kid because it was still alive when he went to college and my parents didn't want it anymore. Oh. Turtles live forever.
Yeah, they do.
And so we did hand that one down technically. But yeah, you can retrain it, whatever. And
right.
Also, it's a rat. What are you doing with it?
One that sleeps forever.
But yeah, that's a good point on the wand and definitely good catch and something to pay attention to because as Ollivander said, the wand chooses the wizard. And so if the wand hasn't chosen you, it'll work, but not great.
Which is probably why the one spell that Ron tries to do with turning him the scabbers yellow doesn't actually work. which
it's also definitely not a real spell. That's definitely older brothers being jerks.
Right. Why didn't the older sibling keep his wand, though, is the question. Because, like, if the wand picks the person, then why didn't they keep their wand?
That's a good
when
point.
Moving on to whatever it was that they were moving on to.
I guess I assumed that wand had been handed down also to them and wasn't theirs.
Okay.
Who did he get his wand from? Bill? Charlie? Not one of the twins, I don't think.
No, it wasn't from one of the twins because...
It was Bill or Charlie.
Yeah.
So I assumed whichever...
And then Percy got an owl, so he got Scabbers from Percy.
Yeah. So I think as the Weasleys are able to afford things, it's kind of that, like, I don't know, kind of trickle down, or I assume, gosh, I'm going to have to look it up, which brother Ron got his wand from, if it was one that graduated and went out into the real world and started in a career making money, probably went, I'm done with this. All right. You know, that was handed down to me. I don't need this anymore. Let me pass it on to my little brother, and I'm going to finally go get my own.
Right. So maybe he got it handed down to him from somewhere, or like a thrift store, or like secondhand or whatever kind of thing too. Okay.
Yeah, that's my assumption, but
you never really find.
I'm trying to remember if that's actually ever explicitly said, but that would make sense. But
okay. Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that one.
Because, like, it's also slightly broken. Yeah. So we've got the unicorn hair sticking out. Yeah. So
just picture that. It's a little white sticking out the end.
I mean, I imagine a white hair because you always see unicorns being white. Like, you know, but it could be pink or purple.
We both go to pink.
Right. Some glitter rainbow color. No idea.
We both have daughters that are obsessed with unicorns.
Right. Right. I want to know who broke into Gringotts. Because we hear about that.
Uh-huh.
And one of Ron's brothers works for them.
Yeah. Not in London, though.
No.
In
Africa?
Yes.
Something like that?
Something like that. Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, who was crazy enough to try to go past all the goblins?
I think I know. I think it's you know who.
Well, here's the obvious answer.
Voldemort.
How dare you?
I know, right? I think I'm with Harry on saying the name, though. It's easier to say the name. It's less spooky. But yeah, I think it's him. And I think that he is behind, like, the whole Draco. Draco is, and like Professor Snape and all of them.
They're all in cahoots.
Oh, yeah. I totally think so. Because they're all mean. They all seem mean. So.
Fair.
They all seem mean.
Yeah, cool. I was scanning my notes if I missed anything from chapter 6. So chapters. I mean, I should ask. Did you have anything else from chapter 6?
I think
we both scan our notes. It's really late, people.
I'm sure Bob will break that out of there. Man. The only thing else that I took away from chapter 6 was Draco's family being part of the dark magic. And how Ron specifically talks about, or not Ron, who specifically talks about him coming back almost.
I think that was Ron.
Is it Ron that says that he comes back almost immediately?
Yeah.
That his family almost comes back almost immediately after Voldemort goes
disappears.
away. Yep. And it almost,
because Hagrid alludes to the fact that a lot of followers did come back claiming that they were under some sort of curse that made them do these things. And
yep.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't believe it necessarily.
Right.
They don't believe that kind of thing actually happened. So I'm wondering if Draco going to Hogwarts is part of getting into more of the dark magic style stuff and trying to figure out a way to bring it back and everything. The only other thing that I can think of is, what does perfect mean for Percy?
Prefect.
Yeah.
So prefect, there's...
Prefect?
Yeah. It's a prefect.
It's spelled that way? It's spelled like perfect.
Yeah, it's prefect. So there's the prefect. You want the book?
P-R-E? It's spelled perfect. P-E-R.
It's definitely prefect. Prefect.
I totally was reading that all wrong. Every time. I read it wrong. Okay, cool.
Because he's a
prefect. What does that mean?
So it means he's one of the heads of the house. So that's why he leads all the first years out of the Great Hall after the banquet and all of that.
Okay.
So he's kind of like a what was it called like an RA in college that was like in charge of the dorm kind of thing.
Okay.
Knew all the rules.
Yep.
May or may not have followed them, but
right.
hypothetically, set the example for everyone in the dorm. Yeah, kind of same idea. So
a lot of the houses are like sororities and fraternity style stuff. Okay. That makes more sense.
Then you have a head girl and a head boy.
Okay.
That are
on both sides.
Yeah, house independent. That get picked.
Okay.
So but the prefects are supposed to help with the houses, especially with the first years, answering questions, find class, explain that the stairs move, like all this weird stuff.
Right.
And so,
talk about the ghosts and
explain the ghost, nearly headless neck. Oh, yeah.
Peeves. Yeah. Okay.
reading the book, my daughter really liked Peeves. She was like, he's funny. I was like, oh boy, that's not good.
Oh no, he's the prankster.
Yeah, I think she likes the idea of it, not
actually being pranked.
what he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah,
being pranked. Yeah,
she's too much like me. she's a little rule follower,
right?
Unlike her little brother.
Yeah, and then there's mine who
is somewhere in the middle.
Something like that. We'll go with that.
Yours is a future leader.
Uh-huh.
But maybe needs to stop trying to lead the class.
I'm not sure which way she's going to be leading though. Is she going to be leading the prison yard, or is she going to be
Fortune 500?
Right.
It's one of the two. There's no middle ground.
No, there's not a middle ground. It's going to be either the prison yard or the Fortune 500.
I see those like little shorts on Instagram and stuff all the time. That's like, whoa, my kid's energy. It's usually my daughter's energy. Yeah, it's either going to be running the prison schoolyard or a Fortune 500. I don't know which.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yep, for sure.
So we get our chapter 7, our first reference of Hogwarts being a family and your house being a family.
Yep.
Which, as you already kind of mentioned, like kind of comes full circle at the end of the chapter. That's like, oh, Harry finally sleeps for the first time despite a nightmare. He eats and sleeps. I was like, oh, the Dursleys weren't, quote, not necessarily starving him. And I was like,
right. Yep.
Questionable. Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
I mean, Dudley would take his stuff even if it would make him sick. That was written.
Well, and on the day of Dudley's birthday, he started shoveling the bacon in his mouth because he was afraid Dudley was going to flip the table. Right. And then he wouldn't apparently not get more.
Yeah.
I was like, Yeah, again, this is one of those like survivor guilt's not the right term, but somebody who's been through somebody abusing them and doesn't recognize it.
Right.
And tries to justify it. I'm like,
Stockholm.
Nope. Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
I'm like, nope. Stop that, Harry. Knock it off.
Yep.
I'll smack you across the nose.
Right. It's like people saying sorry for no good reason.
Yeah. Yep. Same thing. It's like, Harry.
Yep. And I like the fact that when they are being sorted and they get their houses, that it like they do get to be a part of that family and everything, and just kind of feel like they are kind of chosen and they're accepted and excited and all of that stuff.
I love that the tables cheer every time.
Yep.
Like, it's like so welcoming.
Yep.
And like, obviously when Harry gets picked, it's kind of a bigger deal that,
Right.
Gryffindor got Potter.
Right.
But like, but the fact that it's applauded every single time and it's mentioned every single time. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Except for Slytherin, it sounded like they were kind of dull.
Yeah, I think they plot a bit.
Maybe.
But yeah. But yeah, I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. I definitely dug the fact that, like, just the way it was described, the way everybody just kind of though when they're like, oh, we're going to do this in front of literally everybody. It's kind of one of those moments. Hopefully I don't have my underwear showing, but
picture everyone in their underwear. It's fine.
Right. But you kind of just like go up there and you get to experience being a part of a group of a bunch of, different people and a bunch of first year people as well that have never done this either. And
everyone's nervous. Everyone's new. Everyone, I mean, hopefully has been told they're not wrestling a troll, but
Right. Brothers.
Older siblings.
Right.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely did evil things as an older sibling too. So sorry.
So the 4 houses, we have the hat song, which is fun. Not going to reread the whole thing.
I was curious, what is the tune for the hat song?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler alert, not in the movie.
Really?
So highly disappointing. That was one of the first times when my oldest and I watched the movie.
Yeah.
Like she called out a few things. She's like, oh, they left that out. They left that out. And then like an hour later going to bed, she's like, why didn't the hat sing? And I was like, oh, honey, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like she kept thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I really wish the hat sang too. I'm sorry.
I wonder what the tune was because I kept reading it and I just couldn't quite catch.
I just read it like a poem.
Okay.
Like,
that makes sense.
I can't. I'm also not musically inclined in that way.
Okay.
I used to be able to play a whole bunch of instruments. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just read it like a poem. I did love Fred and George doing Dumbledore's song, that the Hogwarts song as a funeral march.
Right.
I was like, that's amazing.
That was funny.
Well played, boys. Well played.
But everybody got to do a different type of melody at the end.
Pick a different song.
Right?
Like, oh boy.
Be a little different. But yes, so the different houses, we've got Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin.
And I pulled out like the couple of words that describe each from the hat song. So Gryffindor, brave of heart. Hufflepuff, just and loyal. Ravenclaw, wit and learning. And then Slytherin, cunning folk. I love the word folk.
Yes.
So yeah. So I was like, all right, that's a pretty good little like TLDR description of each of them.
Right.
Now let's learn more kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I think I also love how the hat talks in each of their ears, obviously.
Well, yeah, because I was curious why it took the hat sometimes very quick and sometimes why it took it so much longer.
I love that.
And then when Harry puts the hat on, you kind of learn a little bit about why. Though
the quick ones, it's like, oh, okay, got it. Right. Say no more.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. And we're going to do a fun little special where you get sorted and it will tell you what percentage of every house you are. Okay. So there's a lot of people that are like, I'm going to use like a Griffin Puff or something that are like really 50-50 between 2 houses.
Okay.
And there's some houses that go together better than others. And so it's fun to see like how strong in one you are. So it's kind of the same. Like you can imagine if you were like 25, 25, 25, 25, the house or the hat would have taken a hot minute trying to decide. Whereas if you take the quiz and it's like 98% Gryffindor and everything else, it's like, oh, it didn't even touch your head.
Right.
Like, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah. And there's this, I don't know all of the details on it, but there's these, I think they're actually talked about at some point, but theories about hat stalls. That like the hat legit can't decide and just stops. It's like, you're either one of these two houses. Like, you're both. I don't know. I'm like, that's just kind of a fun theory.
Right. And I almost wonder if in some ways Harry is two houses, because the hat could not go back and forth. And because Harry kept going, I don't want to be Slytherin. Right.
Not Slytherin.
So I'm wondering if the dream and the hat's like not sure, going back and forth is actually because he should be a Slytherin and not necessarily a Gryffindor, or if he should be kind of about both.
All right, we're going to mark this right now. What are we, 45, 46 minutes in of whatever podcast number this is? We should start keeping track of that.
Probably.
We're going to come back to that later, significantly later.
Yeah.
And those of you who have read all of it, yeah, you know why.
Right. I'm sure.
But yeah, that's a fun theme throughout as to what house you're in. There's another fun thing I've heard talked about that I enjoy, that like as you age, in theory, your house could change.
Okay.
Now, you're only in Hogwarts for 7 years, so unlikely it would, maybe change in that 7 years.
Right.
But if you think back to when you were 11 and the kind of person you are versus now in your 30s, like if you were to, in theory, get resorted, like how would it have changed? And maybe as you mature or you, I don't know, find your calling in life or whatever it is, it's like maybe you started off as one thing and now your personality has shifted.
Yeah.
And I always think that's kind of fun.
Yeah. That would have been interesting. Do you think that you would have been something different at that age? Because I'm assuming you would have only been sorted more recently. Would you have been sorted as a teen? When did you get sorted?
Oh man, if I did it, I wasn't paying attention or don't remember. I think I've always been the same thing. And I'll elaborate on this more in our fun little special. But it's always never what I thought it would be. And that always frustrated me.
Right.
And it wasn't until, the last maybe 5 years ago that I was like, oh, that's why. But I've always been like, no, this should be what I am. But every time I do the stupid little quiz, I get the same thing.
What's interesting, though, is the age of your child, your eldest, and 5 years.
That'd be kind of fun.
Because,
have to see.
Yeah, I wonder if that kind of coincides with...
I should let her do the little quiz. I'd probably have to help her read some of the words.
I'm wondering why, like, you're, like, starting to realize that you're actually where your house is because of your state of mind when it comes to your age of your child right now.
That could be. That'd be interesting.
Interesting. I wonder what I'm going to be.
I'd say, do you have
I have
a guess?
No clue.
Take a guess.
Because,
Take a guess.
While I'm a loyal person, I don't know if I would be that. And I don't think I'm a cunning folk.
You're not folksy.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. And then,
Sorry, my water bottle's really loud just then.
I'm going with I might be a Hufflepuff or a Ravenclaw. I'm probably one of those two.
Okay.
But I don't know.
I would say my prediction, again, not knowing, would also be Hufflepuff is my guess.
I guess we'll see what happens.
What do you think I am?
I think you're a Ravenclaw.
Okay.
Or a Gryffindor. One of those two.
So no Slytherins in the group.
No.
Besides your kid.
Probably most likely my child. Yep. Yeah. Definitely my child.
But again, in a good way. It can be in a good way. We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
It's not all bad.
And while we were reading all of the names and then all of the hat choices, I was literally like, I caught myself. I was like biting on my nail. Like, I was like,
waiting to hear.
When is Harry going to be called dude? I was so nervous. I don't even know why. I was just like, I caught myself. I like looked down and I was like, oh, I should probably stop doing that. Because I couldn't wait to figure out what Harry was going to be. And then when he gets the hat on and he's talking to the hat and the hat's like going back and forth, trying to decide what he's going to be. And then he picks, well, the hat sort of.
Eventually.
I don't know if like the hat really fully picked. Like it almost is kind of like Harry in a way convinced him to pick that one. I don't know. And then he has this dream at the end. And
it throws you off.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it brings me back to the last chapter, the last podcast where like I'm curious about the good and evil within Harry. Like it makes me wonder if there's something going on where like there's like a good and evil battle with him.
I have no poker face and I'm dying.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's where I'm at with it.
It's fun. It's fun.
So
I like the houses. I think that's fun.
It'll be interesting to see what house I have and if I like the colors of the house. Because I don't know what the colors are yet.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
haven't read anything about colors.
Yeah.
So
next chapter, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember that the colors really come in, but yeah, that'll be. Oh, that's the next chapter. The Potions Master.
Ooh.
Snape. So we learned all about Snape. Oh my goodness. Are we ever halfway through this book?
Yeah.
No, not quite.
Almost.
Ooh, we're like dead on center almost. Wow. This book goes fast.
Yep.
I was like, I know looking at a 7-book series when we first started talking about this, I was like, I know this is daunting. We are going to fly through the first 2 books. Probably the third pretty quickly too. Really, like all the book, especially, I mean, they're written for tweens.
Right. Yep.
Like things start getting deep in the 5th, but until then, it's like, yeah, we can do 2 or 3 chapters at a time and
yeah,
kind of have some fun.
I found it interesting that when Snape looks at Harry, that he like his lightning bolt hurts.
Something hurts.
Yep.
It's like a warning or something. Like, yeah.
Kinda. Yeah.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Dark magic. It's like, and is he gonna get rid of Professor Quill?
Because he wants that job.
Yeah. Is he gonna get rid of the weird turban?
Yeah, right. Yeah, all of a sudden he has his turban at the table. It's bright purple.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah, we've had a lot more. I haven't been tracking it every time because it's
the
just
colors.
a continuing theme. But yeah, we've had the same purple and green continues to happen. And we added a lot of scarlet, a lot of red in this chapter.
Yes.
I didn't totally look up what that means. I need to do that. But the train was red. Gryffindor's, like his bed sheets, I think are also described as scarlet.
Yep.
And there's something else. But yeah, I was like, oh, we have another color.
Yep.
That I think is fun. Threads.
I'm excited to find out what's going to happen next in the houses and his classes. I mean, he's got to start school. So he's going to start school. He's going to learn his friends. And Ron seems to not care for Hermione at this point.
Do you blame him?
I mean, not really, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. So next time will be chapters 8 and 9, which are The Potions Master and The Midnight Duel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Maybe we'll be more awake next time.
Maybe.
No promises.
Thanks for joining us for this episode. If you had fun, please follow, download, and review this podcast on your preferred listening platform.
If you're ready for the next chapter, join the spoiler-free conversation on our Facebook group. Search You Haven't Read What? The podcast.
Or on Instagram and YouTube for exclusive videos and behind-the-scenes content. Have a great week.
And we'll catch you on the next page.